First Rise, Dawn, then War, and now Kingdom. How do we go bigger next? I can't wait for Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. Bit of a vague plot summary, but the trailers keep a surprising amount of the details close to their chest, and so I'll try to do the same here. The most recent reboot trilogy is honestly such a sleeper. I feel like not enough people are aware of just how great this trilogy is. It's up there for me personally as one of the top 10 best trilogies of all time, especially when we look at consistency. None of them let the trilogy down, and it's closed off pretty well too. So granted, when I heard that we were getting a new one, I wasn't really sure that was necessary, and I was also worried it might taint what has already been well wrapped in this 3-part story. Safe to say, that's not the case here, and Kingdom brings us a really interesting next chapter to this rebooted universe. They're not really specific on the time jump, but it's so far in the future that our original ape, Caesar, is just but a legend, almost this religious figure now, and we're thrown into this really interesting point in this dystopian Earth where we follow characters now unfamiliar with all things humanity. It's almost like a bedtime story that they've heard of once. There's now different factions of apes, each with their own ways of life, and we're now kind of going full circle like it's the early stages of human civilization. The chaos is then added when Noah, our new main ape, meets a human girl who shows more signs of intelligence than the humans that are around today. And so it becomes almost like this Fellowship of the Ring kind of story. And I know what some of you might say, how dare you compare this to Lord of the Rings? You know what? They're both great. Fight me. Kingdom is all about re-establishing this new world and the working order of our inhabitants. It's done through this adventure-style story following Noah, the girl of interest, and Raka, an orangutan more educated in Caesar's teachings than most. Probably best starting off with the look of the film. It's gorgeous. The bar was already insanely high with a look of Dawn and War, and this one matched. Some scenes involve water and ash, and when you see the detail in these apes when they're going through rivers and climbing through fire-torn environments, it's honestly just a big flex by VFX studio Weta, who were already at the top of the industry. The new characters we focus on are also pretty compelling. We follow Noah, the son from the Eagle clan, who, shock horror, focus on raising and using eagles. He's basically a Caesar 2.0 in terms of design and speaking style, but instead of Andy Serkis returning, Noah is instead voiced and mocapped by Owen T, who gives us this more wide-eyed and curious performance. He's as intelligent as Caesar, but he's been hidden away from the past world and has to try and problem solve whilst understanding the original dynamics that brought the world to where it is now. Peter Macon voices and mocaps the orangutan Raka, who's the great polar opposite to what we're used to in these films. He's far better spoken than anything we've seen so far, and is the most human in terms of behaviour and characteristics. He provides a bit of lightheartedness in what would otherwise be a pretty bleak story. Kevin Durand, who I've not seen in ages, voices and mocaps our Monkey King Proximus, who is also just as well spoken and curious as Raka, although the difference here being he seeks to understand the past, not to preach its lessons, but to instead grant himself more power as a ruler. He's great in this, super eccentric, and they've done a great job in giving him these tics which show just how much he truly admires the human race. Finally, we have Freya Allen, who was great in The Witcher and now plays our special human Nova. She also puts in a good performance as well and leaves a lot to be curious about. And the best thing about these movies is that each character will have their different stance on if humans and apes can coexist, and the problem is that they're all right in their own ways. Kinda get why some don't want humans to be around, because they'd put apes back in cages again, and obviously you can understand why the humans want to regain control of their planet. It's a fairly long film, running at just under 2.5 hours, and I think whether it feels that long will come down to how much you enjoyed the previous installments. Although to be honest, you don't really have need to have seen the last films to enjoy this, as it gives you an introduction rundown of the current state of the world, and it's all new characters this time. If your starting point is going to be this one, then it really does feel easy to compare this to Fellowship of the Ring. The music, the wonder, the adventure, all the eagles. Kingdom is slowly building us up, but it finds a great balance of being its own closed story whilst opening up the window of opportunities moving down the line, and it's one I'm so excited for. And so it's definitely one I recommend checking out. It's got to be one of the most exciting franchises out there at the moment, I reckon. So that's Kingdom of the Planets of the Apes. God, it's really a shame they're stuck with that naming structure. Anyways, it came out in cinemas last weekend, so maybe you've already seen it. If so, let me know on your thoughts on the movie down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews of movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.